Man of the forest, basic plant identification, May 2023. Man of the forest, yeah. Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Man of the Forest. Today we're going to be looking at nature, because, well, for those of you who don't know me very well, I've got a bit of a love thing going on with Mother Nature. Today we're going to do some basic plant ID, so we're going to have a little walk around the orchard and the field. I'm in the field at the moment, and there's the orchard, and I'm going to test out my ID skills and show you some plants. Just before I forget, I should let you know that it is the 20th of May 2023, so you know what time of year, and we're in England, central England, just in case there's any people from other parts of the world watching this. So yeah, I'm just going to have a walk around and point out a few plants and ID them. If I've made any mistakes, feel free to comment if you're a plant expert, but hopefully this will help some people if you're interested in plant ID. Let's get going. Okay, we're going to start with this kind of slightly pink white flowered plant. It's a beautiful little plant, and it is called Lady's Smock. So let's have a closer look at it. Okay, each flower's got, is that even focused? Each flower has 4 petals, kind of greeny in the centre, the yellow stamen, stamen, and leaves on the plant. There's not many on it. There we go. The leaves look like that. Now, one thing I do need to brush up on is my terminology. Anyway, while we're here, what else have we got? Here's a plant that everybody knows. Everyone calls it sticky weed, or sticky willy, some people call it, because it's the plant you pick when you're a kid and you chuck it at your brother's clothes and it sticks to it. So yes, and this is it's called cleavers. It's kind of got a square sectioned stem, lots of fine hairs, but that's what makes it stick to your clothes. This is actually an edible plant. You can eat it. Probably pick the fresh tops, I would. And later in the year, when it's got the little sticky balls on it, you can roast those, grind them down and turn them into a kind of coffee substitute. Anyway, let's see what else we've got. Okay, here's a plant which is all over this field, and this is called ribwort plantain. You can see why it's called ribwort plantain, because it has these ribs going up the leaves. Let's pull one out. There we go. And you can see the ribs going up the back. Really nice plant this, and it has seed heads which look like this. So these are on a long stalk, and the tops, they're actually edible. Taste a bit like mushrooms. Now these will develop into, this is the little flowers on the top. So a lot of them are flowered already, but as you look around, they're everywhere. There we go, there's more of it. Nice little plant there. And while we're here, what else have we got? I see a little purple flower here. Now this is a type of vetch, or vetchling. It's a member of the pea family. It's got little tendrils on it. You can make that out. It's tied itself around this piece of grass here. It's a nice little plant. It's all over the field as well. Here, try and isolate it. Here we go. So you can see it's got these leaves. Actually, they little. Yep, they're leaves. And what will happen is the flowers will turn into little pods. Here's a nice example. Let's get a bit closer. There we go. I'm not entirely sure, I need to brush up on this one. There's quite a few species of vetch and vetchling, but yes, a member of the pea family. So I'll have little pods on it when the flowers go to seed. Lovely little plant. Let's move on, see what else we've got. Oh, while I'm here, here's some dandelions. Now the dandelions have already flowered, everyone's familiar with the dandelion. Nice yellow flowers, and then it turns into a seed head, and all the seeds are blown off this one already. Let me find one that's still got the seed head on it. Here we go. That's the seed head. Here's all the seeds. And the leaves look like this. Sort of lion-toothed. Again, there's a lot of use for dandelion. You can make a tea out of the root. I'm not sure if you have to roast it first and then grind it up and make you can make a coffee substitute out of it. You shouldn't eat too much dandelion, certainly in terms of the leaves, as it's a diuretic. Now while we're here, we also have a buttercup. Beautiful little plant. You can hold that flower under your chin and it will tell you whether or not you like butter. That's what we used to do as children. And there's two types of buttercup. There's creeping buttercup and meadow buttercup, and I think this is meadow buttercup because it stands up taller. While we're here, I've just spotted this, and this is yellow rattle. Yellow rattle before it's flowered. That also has well, obviously yellow flowers, and when it's dried out, they kind of rattle a bit. Nice plant, really nice. And while I'm here, I keep saying this, we have purple clover. Lovely big flower head on that one. Look at that, beautiful. And clover obviously has the is tri-leaved. Here's maybe a better example. So each leaf has 3 leaflets on it, and this is a plant you'll find all over. So yeah, I've hardly got any distance at all. Let's see what else we can see. Again, here's another plant which hasn't flowered yet. This thing with the larger leaves, this is greater Napweed. Now when this is a bit bigger, it'll have big purple flower heads on it. Look a bit like a thistle, but it's not spiny at all. It's not in the thistle family. But yeah, it's quite a big plant once it's grown taller. It could grow to maybe 3 feet or something like that, with big purple flower heads on it. Very nice. I've hardly moved. In fact, I haven't moved. We've got some nice little daisies. Everybody knows a daisy. You can make them into daisy chains, and down the bottom you can see the leaves here, hopefully, with a flower stalk coming out. Here's the leaves coming all the way up to that flower head. Lovely. Here's another one of those Napweeds. You see it's quite big, it's quite prominent in the orchard, in the field rather. And I've just seen something else. This here, that's not to do with that plant, that's the Napweed. This is growing out separately out of it. Now this is common sorrel. I'm going to find a better one to film. Bear with me. Okay, this common sorrel is flowering, and it's will no doubt go to seed soon if it'll focus. Now the easy way to ID this plant is by the shape of the leaves. In fact, let me pull one off. A leaf, I mean. Kind of spear shaped, and it's not a great example. Let me find a better one. Now at the stalk end of the leaf has a couple of points there. If you can make that out, see that side and that side, so where it comes out, they're curling up a little bit on this one. this plant grows in a kind of floret as well, big cluster. They can get quite sizable, and it has a kind of lemony apple skin flavour to it. It's actually a really nice plant for making a tea with, or adding to a salad, that kind of thing. Here's another one here. There's the flower. As we go down the stem, you can see all the leaves. Here, look. Really good plant. And here, everyone knows this. This is a dock, large leaf dock or broadleaf dock. You do get a narrow leaf dock as well. Here's the dried stems from the previous year, which are seeded and no doubt going to colonise my field. There's lots of it over there as well through the netting there. Now, people say when you get stung by nettles, here's another dock, to rub dock leaves on. It doesn't really do a lot, it's more of a placebo, I think. Although if you get to the centre of the plant, you get to this bit, inside that will be some gooey stuff which has some similar properties to aloe vera, and that actually may help with their stings and bites. But actually the best plant to use is ribwort plantain, so, as I've been telling some people recently. So you get the leaf of a ribwort plantain, crush it up until you've got some liquid coming out, or so it's a bit wet, and rub that on your bites or your stings. It actually has antihistamine naturally in it, so actually relieves any bites or stings. Anyway, let's see what else we can find. Oh, there's a big thistle down here. I think there's 14 types of thistle. They're actually all edible, but I think it's not worth the hassle because you've got to get rid of all those spikes. I'm not entirely sure which type of thistle that is, to be honest. Yeah, so I'll move on. Here we have a young ash tree, little sapling. You can tell ash has these leaves which are opposite each other. A nice tree, great firewood. There we go. When it's bigger, it'll have black buds on it, usually grey in the stem. Hard to see on this one because it's so young and small, and the light's not the best really for this. So nice little sapling I'm letting grow there. Now here's a whole cluster of umbelliferous plants, which I believe is cow parsley. Now there's a few different plants which look similar, so without getting into the nitty gritty of how the plant grows and its structure, I can't say for sure, but I believe this is cow parsley. And here again, there's lots of different types of fern. Here is a lovely fern. There's not many of these in the orchard or the field, so I'm quite happy to have this one. And it's not bracken. I have got bracken, I'll show you that shortly. Here we have a type of willow herb. I'm not sure if it's Roseberry Willow herb, which is quite a common one. Hard to tell at this point. Roseberry Willow herb can grow quite tall. Yeah, and I think you have to do your own research if you're going to try eating plants. Don't listen to some guy on the internet like me. But I think there's a part of the Roseberry Willow herb you can eat. I think it's the pithy part inside the stems, full of protein. But don't quote me on that. If you're interested in foraging, always make sure and double check you know what it is you're picking and what you're eating. Okay, here's another quite distinctive plant, and I believe this is hogweed. Not to be mistaken with giant hogweed, which is can be quite dangerous because it has I can't remember what you call the chemical, but if you get it on your skin, it reacts in the sunlight and can cause blistering and burns, and it's very painful. It can leave you with scars. So be very careful if you're near giant hogweed. And here's a plant which everybody knows. This is the good old stinging nettle. Again, it's edible if you pick the fresh tops, and it's a very versatile plant. You can use the stems to make string later in the year through a process which is very interesting. So if you're into survival skills, bushcraft, that kind of thing, the nettle is an invaluable plant. Also really good for wildlife. When it starts flowering, the butterflies will absolutely love it. Here's that giant Napweed again, growing in the fence line, and you can see how tall it is. It's up to my belly button, and here's the seed heads from last year. Very nice. So we're just having a walk around. Here's all my young apple trees I grafted, not this winter gone, but the winter before. So hopefully in a few years this will all be looking absolutely lovely, as long as the roe deer don't browse the tops of the trees, but I'll have to wait and see for that. They need protecting because they're quite tasty to roe deer. I prefer the apples. Well, I prefer the apples once they're crushed and made into cider. Here's a plant that everybody will know, but maybe not at this stage of growth. This is Bramble. It has got spikes all the way up the stems there, and under the leaves there. A bigger version. Here we are. Those spikes, you don't want those in your skin. And here's where the blackberries were last year on this thing. So that'll be fruiting later on in the year, autumn time. While I'm here, I'm on a wild edge here. I've kind of left this to grow wild, and I'll continue leaving it grow wild and see what comes up. I have got lots of tiny little ash trees growing. There's one, there's another, which is cool. So this will gradually develop into scrub and into a little woodland. There'll be some little oaks in here as well. And this is Bracken. There's a different form to a fern. Fern grows centrally out and from a point at the base. Bracken has a stem and then grows up with two sets of leaves that are opposite each other. And that will keep growing, probably up to, well, it can go to 6 or 7 foot in the right conditions. But there's loads of little ash here. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. There's a little oak, little tiny oak. And these are all growing here because I've got big oak trees above me, and there is an ash tree somewhere around here. At the bottom there is anyway. So the seeds get blown around and then they grow. In here we have a nice little pink flower, 5 petals, and these are the leaves for this plant. It does get a bit bigger than this. I'll see if I can find a better example. This one only has 1 flower. Maybe that one's already flowered and it's turning into a seed pod there. But this is called Herb Robert. It's a good name. Very good name. I do like that. Nice pretty leaves. A nice pretty pink flower. Here we have another pretty little flower very close by, and this is called Speedwell. It has these little kind of almost nettle leaf shaped leaves that grow opposite each other, and has these nice little purpley flowers. They're kind of not, well, they're symmetrical, but there's like 1 big petal at the bottom and then 2 large petals with a smaller one in the middle at the top. Very nice little plant, and this sort of spreads. So that's called Speedwell. Some more little flowers there, some more there. Lovely. It's actually creeping all the way around here. There's quite a lot of it. But here's all the leaves. And there's the flowers. Here we have a classic plant. These are bluebells. They've got long straight leaves. Like this, which come taper down to a point. And they've got the iconic bell-shaped flowers. So these are bluebells. They're kind of a bit more purpley than blue, but there we go. I'm not really going to touch on trees today, but here we've got a young beech, quite shiny leaves. You can actually eat the leaves when they're young, but as they get older, like most plants, they get more bitter. And here's a branch from an oak tree. It's growing from there. I said I wasn't going to touch on plants, but while I'm here, I may as well do that. There's the classic oak leaf shaped leaf, because it's an oak, funnily enough. And also here I have a willow of sorts. What kind of willow is it? There's quite a few. There's goat willow. It's obviously not a weeping willow. There's crack willow. I think it might be goat willow. And there's another one over here which is flowering nicely. Really popular with the bees and the butterflies. Here's your little flowers, which are very pretty. They kind of start off a bit fluffy, but they've gone past that stage now. There we go. Let's see what else we can find. You can see here all the bracken. You can see the brown is the dead bracken from the previous year. All these straight stems. That's bracken that's creeping into the field. It's quite an invasive plant. It will spread. So you need to keep an eye on that. I don't want it to creep into the field too much. You can see I've mown a strip all the way around so I can walk around my property. But I don't want it spreading into the meadow itself, which will be cut for hay. The good thing about making hay is you take the crop off, so you're reducing nutrients, and then it becomes a more competitive habitat, as plants will compete with each other for the nutrients that are left. There we go. Now we're on the edge of the field here. There's some big oaks up there and over there, but all this in the centre of the screen now is dog rose. It's a huge, great thing. It's a climber. It's climbed up some holly at the top of there. You can see you might be able to see the straggly bit sticking out. That's holly, and the dog rose has taken the opportunity to grow up it. I'm not sure if it flowers every year, but when it does, it's covered in pink flowers. It's like a big wall of flowers, great for the bees and butterflies. Absolutely amazing. So let's have a closer look, see what it looks like. Okay, this is it. These are the leaves. There we are. And you can tell it's a rose because if you look on the stems, it has these nice, very sharp, very sharp points. Can you see that? Not sure if it's showing up very well. There we go. If it'll focus. Dearie me. Doesn't want to focus. Hopefully you can make out those spines sticking out. Yep, they get caught on your clothes, caught on your skin, and leave you with splinters. So there's, like I say, this whole it's like a wall of it. The whole side has got all this rose growing up it. It's amazing. I really hope it flowers because it's beautiful when it does. Okay, I had to stop to show you this. This is Hawthorn, and it's absolutely covered with blossom this year. It's beautiful. Now you also get another type of hawthorn called Midland hawthorn, which is very similar, but it has pink flowers. Slightly different growth. And a hawthorn leaf looks like this. There we go. Again, it's a very prickly plant. We'll leave you with some nice splinters. There's big thorns on it. But absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, I tell you. So here is a thistle that I can tell you what it is. There's quite a lot of it and it's creeping around, as in it's spreading, and that is why it's called creeping thistle. It will have purple flower heads on it, as most thistles do. Some have yellow, but yeah, most thistles have purple heads. Yeah, it's not the biggest of thistles, and yeah, it looks like this. Okay, I'm running out of things, new things to show you. But this, I believe, with the white flowers, I believe is greater Stitchwork. There's a lesser Stitchwork which has smaller flowers. Lovely white, kind of each one's like a double petal, and there's 5 of them. And it has leaves, kind of spear-shaped leaves. Let me show you this one. See that? Pointy leaves, which grow opposite each other up the stem. Hopefully you can make that out. But a very pretty flower. There's a whole cluster here. Very nice. And here's another spiky yellow flowering plant. Here is gorse. Kind of a shrubby type thing, quite woody. Has these pretty flowers. This has got a small one, but you'll see this on the banks, on hillsides, loads and loads of it, covered in yellow flowers. This one's quite a small example. Here's a nice climbing plant. This is honeysuckle. Likes to grow up things and twist its stems around things. It's just starting to come out into flower. It smells really nice when it's all open. Very nice plant. And very good for the bees and the butterflies, again, as most flowering plants are. This is an interesting one I wasn't really familiar with until I looked up what it was yesterday. And this is, let me find it, this stuff here is penny field cress. Again, I think it's edible when it's young, but yeah, each of these round leaves I think are actually seed pods. Interesting plant. Not one I see very often, so yeah, I'm quite pleased to have a little cluster here. There's a whole bunch of it. All these here, look. Field pennycress. There's a bit paler yellow down here, where it's probably going to seed. It's growing amongst the nettles and the cleavers. Right, I've had a walk around. We've seen lots of stuff. I'm not showing you about grasses yet because, well, to be truthful, I'm not that up on my grass ID. It starts getting quite technical. Oh, here's a plant which is a bit of a pain. This is bindweed, and you can see it's climbing around that grass. It likes to spread. Has really nice big white flowers on it, like trumpets. But it's a bit invasive. I don't really want it in the field, no, not too much of it. But I don't think it'll creep into this meadow part too much. Like I say, it mostly likes climbing up things. It'll grow up trees and stuff. That big cluster of nettles there. I'll make some string later in the year. Look at that hawthorn, absolutely covered in blossom. Beautiful. Here's some more gorse, more yellow flowers on it. This is more typical of what you might expect to see. And it's covered in spines. Yep, very prickly plant. And a similar plant, I say similar, I'm not sure if it's the same family. It's not prickly though. Is this? Now it's kind of gone over, it's a lot more vibrant yellow when it's younger. This is broom. Lots and lots of straight stems. Covered in yellow flowers. Like I say, it's late May, so it's already gone over, this one. I'm not sure how easy it is to pick up the details on that. While I'm here, I may as well point out hazel. Absolutely amazing plant. Grows multi-stemmed, has lots of uses. One of my favourites. You can see the stems there in the background. And while we're here, next to it is a sycamore. Classic sycamore leaf there. And I think I'll finish off this little tour with the main plant, or my favourite up here, which is obviously the apple tree. I've got lots of different varieties here. This particular variety, it's called Major, and it's absolutely covered in blossom. I can hear the bees buzzing all around it. It's a Major is a cider apple, a very nice one, makes a very nice cider. It's covered in this beautiful blossom. Petals are all starting to drop off now. It's like confetti on the floor. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope it's been useful to those of you who have come across it for a bit of plant ID. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed walking around with me and looking at Mother Nature and all the lovely plants. Feel free to like and subscribe.